y'all, when I was growing up in upstate New York, I had to listen to the radio for school closures. So I'd wake up very early in the morning, and the radio would be playing, and it would say like, "Hey, Orange County closed for 2 hours. Putnam County school closed for 1 hour." Depending on where you lived and how much snow you got, that was determinant on if you were going to school or not. So during the announcements of school closures was songs playing, right? You had to get the music,
Yeah.
and then you had to get the information. So as long as I have been alive, the radio has just been on, like on in the background. That's how I got my information from a local perspective. Like, hey, these events are happening, this concert is happening, and it's never gone away until streaming.
Yeah.
CDs, though, also impacted radio, right, early on, because you could play your record and not have to wait for someone to play it for you to get it. But it was always a vibe, though, when you had the radio playing on the summer days.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
So today we have a guest that is a legend in the radio industry, y'all. And I can't wait for everyone to listen to this episode because he's amazing.
Yes.
He uses Black Girl Sunscreen and his family.
Yeah.
Okay. So Francis, what is going on at Black Girl Sunscreen?
Okay. So Father's Day is right around the corner, and there's still time to get the dad in your life together. BGS Men SPF 30 is our first sunscreen specifically for men. We have hops extract to help tighten the skin and reduce the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles. Aloe leaf juice as an anti-inflammatory. Carrot seed oil to help balance and restore the skin's moisture, and other ingredients catered specifically to men. This is the ultimate gift for the man in your life that likely doesn't even know he needs it, because he does. You can get yours exclusively at blackgirlsunscreen.com.
All right, so here's what BGS Men's looks like. It comes in a black and silver bottle. So I wouldn't say like a lot of silver, but just the logo is silver. So let me open this bad boy up. I always screw the top open. I know I'm a little weird, but I knew that this was going to be on here and I'm not going to be able to open it, so I won't waste any time on it. But anyway, it's going to come out with the normal white consistency, but it does rub in sheer. Listen, team ladies, your men need you.
Yeah, they do.
Okay,
They do.
but also, men, let's step it up a little bit here.
Can we? Please. Yeah.
So no more Vaseline, no more baby oil, no more 4s and 1s.
Take care of
We've
your
made
skin like you
something-
love it.
We've made something to honor your skin and your complexion, and something just for you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Francis, who do we have sitting next to us?
Today's guest is a seasoned radio executive with 36 years at iHeartRadio, including 25 in his current role as president of hip hop and R&B programming strategy and program director here at 92.3. He is a driving force behind the success of stations like Power 105.1 in New York and Real 92.3 in LA. He oversees more than 80 hip hop and R&B radio stations nationwide and has helped shape the careers of top radio talent, including The Breakfast Club, Big Boy, and Steve Harvey. Born in Brooklyn, New York, Brooklyn, with Jamaican roots, he holds a degree in computer science and economics from Trinity College. He lives right here in Los Angeles with his wife and family. Please welcome Mr. Doc Wynter.
Hey.
Hello.
Good to be here.
We play a game at the end. My questions are gonna hit hard. I already know my questions are gonna hit. Doc, I seen you around the studio.
Yeah.
But you only come in when celebs are here. What's up with that?
That is not true. That's not true. My office is on the other side. I'm usually in there doing something, but big studio is I think adjacent to this one. So I stopped through, and then cruise show. I see you. I see you. And honestly, I was so shocked when they came to me about the fact that you were going to do a show here.
Yeah.
Because my wife and I literally fell in love with that product a couple of years ago. Your product.
And we appreciate that.
Like real. That's real talk.
Okay.
In the house.
I appreciate. So I want to go back to. I want you to tell the people what you do. But since we're on Sunscreen, real quick, right? We get this question in right now. Tell us your relationship with Sunscreen and your family's relationship.
I mean, obviously, my wife is from the Caribbean, and so we like to go to the beach. But the worst experience a Black person can have is putting sunscreen on and looking all chalky.
Yeah.
And so my wife one day discovered, she's like, "Oh my God, this woman created this sunscreen for Black folks." And we have some white friends too that go to the beach with us, and they saw us putting it on our son, and they were like, "Yeah, we hate when our son looks chalky." So they use it as well, and it's just a really good product and a great idea. So congratulations.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So are you putting sunscreen just on your son, or do you use it?
I use it too.
You do?
Yeah.
Growing up in Brooklyn, did you use it?
No, I use Vaseline.
And we did.
I think Vaseline's the first. We would use baby oil.
Yeah.
Baby oil.
And of course, now with social media, we found out all that stuff is not good for you. So,
Right. Right.
Yeah. So.
All right.
Yeah.
So tell your wife I said thank you. I
Will do.
appreciate you supporting the business and then putting on allies to the business as well.
Absolutely.
So Doc, tell the folks what you do.
I oversee. It's actually. How many stations did you say? Yeah, a lot of radio stations.
A lot of radio
around
stations.
the country. And iHeart, kind of like the brain trust of our radio stations and how we go about gathering ratings and things like that, and training talent, and obviously helping them use their social media platforms to enhance their respective brands and our respective brands across all of these radio stations, all the way from New York all the way over to this side of the country. And understanding the nuances of each market. It's just not plug and play, because LA is different from New York is different from Atlanta is different from Jacksonville is different from Memphis. And so a lot of that is spent doing that.
So you are very well respected in the space. I mean, anyone that I come across that knows that we're in the LA building talks about you.
Mm-hmm.
I follow you, and it's always just like respect king,
Mm-hmm.
just very, very good words. How did you get that reputation?
I don't know. I guess being good at your job, and quite honestly, just not being an asshole. Being perfectly honest. Can we curse on this show?
No.
Okay, sorry. Not being a good person. I remember when I first got into the business, and this was when radio conventions were prevalent, and so you would see the kings, if you will, of the business radio, sitting up at a dais, and I'd be in the crowd, and aspiring one day to be one of those people.
Mm-hmm.
And then occasionally you have an occasion to go speak to that person or whatever, and sometimes people just weren't the nicest people, and for me, I was like, wow, like it's not that difficult, to be nice to somebody. And so I hear that a lot, and it's not, it's just who I am. So, and that's not to say that there's nobody out there that may have worked for me that may not have had a great experience,
Sure.
because I may have had to, terminate, or
It comes with the role.
It comes with the role, but I always try to do it in a respectful manner, as long as they're respectful.
Mm-hmm.
There's always that little Brooklyn factor.
I can't wait to my yeah or nah questions, because we've heard Brooklyn like 3 times here.
Yeah.
Brooklyn
Francis,
all day.
what you got, Francis?
Okay. So I came across an interview that you did many, many moons ago.
Sure.
There was a woman who
Mhm.
told you that you have a great voice
Mhm.
and that it would sound good on radio.
Yeah.
Now, I remember growing up listening to Quiet Storm, and the radio host, they just had this super deep, silky, smooth
Mhm.
voice.
The word sexy.
Sorry. Sexy voice.
Yeah.
Was that you? Like, I hear your voice now. So did you have to like give it a little zhuzh behind it to get that sexiness for Quiet Storm?
I always remember back in the day growing up, when you actually had home telephones,
Mm-hmm.
and people would call our house, and I was like 10, and they would think that I was my brother or my father, and it never
Wow.
it never meant anything to me. I remember playing basketball in college, and an interview after a game, I did a shot to win the game, and I was being interviewed, and I remember my roommate saying like, "Dude, you got a stupid voice." And again, it just never
Occurred to you.
occurred to me,
Yeah.
or I never tripped off of it. And when I was in college, a good friend of mine worked at the college radio station, and I used to sit in with him at times. And there was always this thing: if you're from New York, you can spin and you can do this. And I just loved music, and I loved radio, but I never played music. And one of those spring breaks, I went back home, and my neighbor wanted me to meet her niece, and I was like, I'm not trying to do that. And, and so she showed up at my house surprisingly. And long story short, the girl and I ended up, really liking one another. And again, her feedback to me was, something about my voice. And I was like, okay. And so I ended up going back to school after the break, and my buddy came back late.
Mm-hmm.
He was still on vacation with his family. He asked me if I would do his show. I was like, okay, cool. And so me being, very trying to be organized and write all my songs down and what I'm going to say. And I cracked that mic and I did my first break, and it was like, wow.
That was it.
Oh, this is not good. This is crazy.
Wow.
And we had our college station at the time was we were in Connecticut, so our college station was the night station, and the commercial station was a daytime station. So it was AM daytime. So it went off at sundown, and then our station took over. And so there were people that worked on both sides, professionally, that came and worked at our college station. And so after that break, the hotline rang, excuse me, and a woman who worked at the commercial station, she said, "Hey, are you the person that was just talking?" And I said, "Yeah." She said, "I don't know who you are. I don't know what you do, but you need to do this." And it was like strike two, like,
Mm-hmm.
oh man. And so, I ended up graduating with my degree in computers and economics. And I think I also mentioned my parents are Jamaican. If
Mm-hmm.
you understand the Jamaican dynamic, it was like, no, you're about to be a computer programmer.
Yep.
You're not
Yep.
messing around and playing in the radio. And
Mm-hmm.
I had to have that conversation after graduation with my parents, like, hey, I think I want to step out and try this radio thing. And interestingly enough, I don't know if you guys have seen this new show on Netflix called Forever.
I
It's a
have
new
not.
show, and it's amazing. Got to see it. So in that show, there's a similar situation where the young man, black man, went to school. His mom is, his dad is, and he wants to go do music. Like
Mhm.
that was me. And I now looking back at it, I can understand what my parents felt like. Are you out of your mind? Like what
Mhm.
are you talking about? Like you want to go do radio? You want to go play records when you just went to college for this degree? But I was like, I think I can be really good at it. Like I'm getting feedback from people that says, hey, you could do this. And so
So what was
that's
their
what happened.
reaction when it worked out? Because it
Oh,
took some years.
oh, it's
Because you did both
yeah.
because of your degree,
yeah.
but eventually you let the computer side go and you
Yeah.
stayed in radio. So what was their reaction
I
with
think
that?
the first time my parents came to, we did something called Quiet Storm Live in St. Louis, where my show was live in front of people. And I think that was the first time my dad was like, wow. Because I was really shy, introvert, athlete. That's all I was. And I think my dad was like, wow, okay, like you might be able to do this. And then years later, when I first became the head of um, Clear Channels, because we were Clear Channel before
Yeah.
iHeart, and he saw that, I had some success. He was like, wow, okay, this worked out. But my uncle, who was a chemist, and understand the whole Jamaican thing. Like my father came from 6 brothers, chemist, Spanish teacher. Like they didn't play that. They were my uncle was the kind of person who would come on a Saturday morning at 7:00 and say we're going to the library.
Oof.
Like, what are you talking about?
It's not even open
Better
yet.
than cleaning.
Yeah.
My grandmother used to wake us up and
Yeah.
clean.
Yeah.
But they were no, they were no joke, and they were really about us making sure that we benefited from the struggles that they had to for us to move forward. So, long story short, obviously they weren't happy initially, but
It worked out.
later on they realized, okay, he did this. So.
Doc, just talking about your upbringing a little
Mhm.
bit. So you're sitting amongst 3 native New Yorkers,
Mhm.
right?
So
Oh, so
you know. If you know, you know.
I'm from upstate New York,
Okay.
and you and Francis are both from Brooklyn.
BK all day.
Okay.
If you know, you know.
You know.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
This is only something New York does. So what musical artist influenced you? This is a 2-part question, okay?
Okay.
What musical artist influenced you as you were coming up? And then who are your favorite 5 DJs?
I mean, on-air personalities, you mean? Kinda?
Sure.
Okay. Um,
Because DJ is different than on-air personality, though.
Yeah.
So that's why I went to DJ
DJs.
because.
Okay. First question was
what artist influenced you growing up?
All right, growing up at the time, I was growing up in New York City. I think Luther Vandross was still with the group Change, so he started to. Y'all are looking at me like this dude is old.
No, not at all.
He's seasoned. Anyway, so growing up, Luther, Stevie Wonder, and those people were really owned the radio. And then I remember a group called the Fatback Band. Growing up in New York City, you could get into a club at 16. So I was listening to DJs rap and spin and, stand on stages before it actually went on wax.
Yeah.
Kayla's cracking up like, wow. So there was a group called the Fatback Band that actually put out the very first hip hop record before Rapper's Delight.
Okay.
And it was called, what was it? The group was called Fatback Band. But great record, came out. I was like, oh my God, they actually took this and put it on wax. And then maybe 3 or 4 months later was when Rapper's Delight dropped. And that's when
hip hop took off.
Hip hop took off. But if you were in New York City, we were already watching people grab a mic. There was a DJ and there was an MC. And an MC would grab the mic and they'd throw a beat on and they would just rap. And most of the time it was just off the top of their head. So it was, and now to see it.
Insane to watch.
Yeah. And now when you see it on wax and you're like, oh man, they did this, but had no idea it would become what it would become later on. But it was crazy.
Now 5 DJs. Oh, give me 3 DJs, not on-air personalities.
DJs.
Yeah.
I was seasoned enough to see Grandmaster Flash. He was simply amazing. DJ Chuck Chillout. Some of these guys worked at BLS in New York that were pretty amazing.
I remember that name.
And there's another guy named DJ Starsky.
I remember that name
day
too.
that was incredible.
Okay.
And these guys, unlike DJs today, they were showmen. It wasn't just that they just mixed records. They mixed records. They got on the mic. They made, it was a show, and they were incredibly. I sometimes wish that the younger people that I work with could have experienced what it was like before today, because it was absolutely incredible.
Fast forwarding to today,
Mm-hmm.
what's it like being a Black man, as a music exec and understanding your roles, responsibility, and influence?
It is. It can be challenging at times. I mean, for the most part, it's not something I really spend a lot of time considering. But I do understand what my responsibility is. I understand that a lot of times that I'm in the room, I might be the only person of color in the room. It's gotten a lot better because I've kind of advocated for that in this company. And now that I run a radio station that actually targets the brown and Black community, I'm often like, okay, so why is there no one brown in this room? Because again, we can't really ask somebody that is not of that culture to fully represent that culture and its nuances and understanding. And that's been one of the best things about working here, is really getting to understand and learn that culture, which is very close to ours, but also different. So I have to remember and educate my colleagues that are not of our culture that this is our culture, and we owe it the respect that it's earned over the years.
What mistakes have you made? Like, have you put on a song that on the radio that probably shouldn't have been on the radio?
I don't know if they're mistakes.
Okay. Or learning opportunities.
There are times when I think back when things have occurred, how we've handled them. I remember when the initial R. Kelly case first broke in Chicago. The program director there at the time, who reported to me, he went on TV and he pulled all of R. Kelly's records off the radio, and I was like, whoa, shouldn't we have a conversation about that? And in my mind, I wasn't sure whether or not the audience could differentiate the art from the artist and the behavior. And in addition to that, it had been my experience that rock and roll had been doing this for years. Like you look at the background of some rock and roll artists, it's like, oh my God.
Mhm.
But then the music still, was prevalent on the radio. And so we researched the song, which I believe was Ignition at the time, if you're an R. Kelly fan. And it researched through they didn't care. And so I made him put the record back in.
Okay.
Oh.
So hot take.
Mhm.
Right now we got Diddy.
Mm-hmm.
Are y'all playing Diddy? Any stations playing Diddy?
It's slightly different because he didn't have as much music that is current right now.
Mm-hmm.
But he's produced a lot.
He's produced a lot.
Mhm.
We haven't pulled any records. I mean, and in some instances, I've encouraged my PDs, however you feel more comfortable, because you are the person that represents your market. You understand how your community reacts, and that's the great thing about our company and radio. It's not just across the board. You feel uncomfortable playing Diddy? Let's have a conversation about it. Because I've actually had people outside of our culture within our company reach out and say, we should pull all those records, pull all of Kanye's records. I'm like, but let's have a conversation first. And so in many instances, we have not.
Why is your stance about why is your stance let's have a conversation, because it's something personal and you want to continue to support, or you think it brings in rating? Why is your stance that?
Because I believe that I've seen enough data to support the fact that our audience is able to differentiate the person's actions from their music.
Okay.
One of the saddest stories, I think, in our music community has been Chris Brown, who unfortunately finds himself in a bad predicament again. Just saw him a couple of weeks ago.
I saw that.
And I think what happened with Chris at the time, he was 19 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Yet for some reason we've just he's 36 now, and he's been made to live with this night for the last 18 years, which I just think was unfair. That's not to say that he may or may not have done anything to assist in that, but I just think that people make mistakes as kids, and I think we ought to give them another opportunity.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Doc,
Uh-oh.
looking back.
Yep.
I was about to go to the game.
I'm sorry, I didn't even
so
look
Brooklyn
up.
just turned on me. What's up? Okay.
Looking back, what's one decision or moment in your career that you're most proud of?
When I decided to leave St. Louis, I was the program director and I was hosting the Quiet Storm. So I was in my glory.
Mm-hmm.
And the company, we were purchased by J-Corps, and I was asked to leave and go to Jacksonville, Florida, which on paper didn't really make any sense because St. Louis at the time was market number 18. You guys, we understand market size.
Mm-hmm.
Los Angeles is number 2 from a population perspective. New York is number 1.
We
Chicago
get
is
it.
3.
Yeah.
But then over time, some of these other cities have gotten smaller, bigger, or whatever. And so St. Louis at the time was 18 and Jacksonville was 51. So on paper, why would you leave market? I'm supposed to be going from St. Louis to Chicago to LA or New York.
To grow
Right.
it, Doc.
To
Yeah.
grow.
Yeah.
But I decided to take this opportunity
You wanted to build it
in
up.
Jacksonville because of the people that were going to be working there. It was going to be an opportunity for me to learn from some pretty amazing people who had already peaked in their career. A guy by the name of Kevin Matheny. If you ever saw the Howard Stern movie, he was the guy that was teaching Howard to say WNBC. Well, he was on this part of his career, and he was the director of programming there. And then there was another guy, Steve Smith, who actually launched Hot 97 in New York and Power 106 here in L.A. He was now in a consultancy position there. And there's another guy by the name of Barry Mayo, who you probably know was the program director of KISS FM in New York back in the day, when KISS and BLS, he was, but if you knew, you knew the opportunity to work with these 3 people was going to be amazing. So I ended up taking that job, going and working with these people. And then immediately I get there, we clash because they have an opinion about what the radio station there should be. And I had a totally different opinion. They wanted us to focus on Barry White and Anita Baker. And I wanted to focus on Keith Sweat, R. Kelly, Joe.
You wanted a different audience. Yeah.
So they said no, I said yes. And so then we fielded a perceptual study. What I said rang through.
Wow.
So we ended up changing the station to fit that, and the station went from 15 to number 1.
That's why you were supposed to
That's
go.
amazing.
And so that was he's that guy.
Yeah.
And that's how I ended up getting the position. So at the time we had like 5 urban stations, and then we went from 5 to like 35 to 50 to 72.
And now we had
So that was
Congratulations on that.
Thank
you. You're welcome.
Had
That's
I been
amazing.
wrong though, I'd probably be sweeping this.
We will never know.
Yeah.
We're gonna play a game, yeah or nah. I'm gonna have Francis teed up. We have a lot of questions, but they're really fun questions. Okay.
Uh-oh.
If you want to give an explanation, you can. If not, go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to give a phrase and you say yeah, nah.
Mhm.
And we're going to kind of round robin some of them because some of them are specific to you.
Got it.
Okay.
Got it.
Okay. So the first one is manicured nails.
Nah.
See, I pegged you for a man with manicured nails.
Me too.
I said he's from Brooklyn, so he look kind of hood, but I think he keeps himself together.
No, I cut him. I'm not a
Go to the
long
salon.
nail dude. I'm not a
Well,
long
no.
nail dude.
You don't have to have long nails, but just
Oh yeah, you're definitely.
What about
done.
clear polish?
No.
Oh.
No.
He said that with the
I
quickness.
actually get offended when they ask me that. Like, nah,
like just shake me up and let me out.
I don't want my stuff shining. I just want my stuff to look natural. But, yeah. I love that question though.
Okay, I'm going yes on manicured nails.
I'm going yes also.
Okay, have at it.
Okay, so this one I slipped this in just because it's not a yeah nah. So
Yo, this is good radio, by the way.
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Yeah, congratulations, guys.
So East Coast or West Coast? You knew that was going to come.
Where is this airing?
4 markets, so we understand markets.
Oh man, I'm a East Coast guy.
That's right.
Yeah.
East Coast. I don't know. I love it out here. Don't get me wrong, but
Nothing's like New York.
nothing's like New York.
Yeah.
Yep. You already know my answer, Francis.
You know mine too.
Mhm.
Okay.
And the movement is different a little bit. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? Especially like within the community, it's a little different. You know, here, like I spent a lot of time in the South. I remember being at the airport one time and I saw a brother and I gave him the black man nod.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know.
What's your nod? Let me see it.
Yeah, what up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's up?
Dude looked at me like,
Whoa.
and so I later told Big Boy and Fuzzy, I'm like, yo, what's going on? He's like, yo, like we don't do that here. Like that means, yo, what's up? And I was like, I can't say hi to another black man. Like what are we doing out here?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he's like, yo, you ought to like just tame
Wow.
that down. I was like, okay.
I actually had a guy give me a head nod in IKEA. He's
Oh,
like,
really?
Yes.
Like IKEA.
Yeah.
I think this guy that I gave the head nod to had some stuff written on his face, and so that was probably an indication.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, not to
Yeah.
to do that.
Oof.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Watching cartoons without kids around.
No.
No.
I have to watch him when my son is around, and it just drives me nuts. Like, what you watch? Can't watch the game, dude. Like,
No.
Mine is yeah. I watch like yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
We both play. Okay.
Googling yourself to see what pops up.
You had before.
There was a time.
No, you
That
had
was
before.
too long of a pause.
There was a time when shortly after R. Kelly, if you Googled my name, because somebody brought it to my attention, the first thing that showed up was a picture of me and him. And I was like, of all the people I've taken a picture with over my career, like that's the first one that comes up. And I was like, no. That was kind of crazy. But yeah, so I have done it.
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
I Google myself often. I
Mhm.
also chat GPT myself.
Really?
Yes, absolutely. And I recommend anyone and everyone that is in a space that has
Yeah.
notoriety to do that regularly, because you never know what's popping up, what
Yeah.
articles are being
Did
written
you
about.
did you have something spicy come up? What's going on?
No. I'm pretty vanilla.
Do we even know?
But I just want to make sure that it stays that way. Because there's way people can connect to you and you don't even like
No.
know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No, smart.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Francis?
I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to check with chat though.
What came up?
So Romance and Francis came up actually. Our Make It Pop Shades collection.
We have a product named
Oh.
after her.
Mhm.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Good for you, Francis. I love it.
Me
you
too.
had some good PR around that. Yeah,
I was excited. I said, "Ooh, I'm in the press."
Is that like some kink? Is that some kinky stuff or what? I don't know. What is it?
We can turn it into something. As a man, what would you like to see?
I'm just asking a question.
I know. I'm asking another one.
It kind of got a little quiet in here, so I was just trying to figure out what that was.
Romance and Francis is a lip color, but as
it's
a man,
a lip color.
So now, should we do like a lingerie? Do men still like that? Do men like lingerie? What you liking, Doc?
Why
is your name Doc?
I was wondering when that was going to come.
It's a very good question. I actually had somebody ask me this in the men's room the other day as he was sitting doing his business. I was like,
"Stop!
I'm not trying to have this conversation."
Stop.
Not a man that doesn't wear nail polish. He definitely ain't talking to you in the bathroom.
I'm washing my hands. He's like washing my hands. He walks by me, sits down, and he closes the door, and he's like, "Yo, so tell me, how did you get the name Doc?" I'm
like, nah, bro, we're talking outside. Like, no,
I'm trying to get out of here. Anyway, long story short. When I got to St. Louis in '89, there was a gentleman who was in my position. He oversaw the 4 hip hop stations we had in St. Louis and Houston, and he told my program director that there were no black people named Dave. He said, first of all, he doesn't sound like he's from St. Louis. He sounds like he's from New York, and his name is Dave. Like, you got to come up with another name. So they gave me a list.
I know you lying. Your name isn't Doc?
No.
It's Dave? David?
Well, we couldn't find
it.
Dave.
Oh, you don't even look like a
So
Dave.
he gave me a list that I had to pick from. I was so offended that this white guy was telling me how I had to name myself.
Yeah.
And I think the last name was the Dr. Dave Wynter. And I was like, let's just do Doc. And I just grabbed the paper and walked out.
Wait, how many people know this?
Not many.
Oh.
Yeah.
But Wynter is your last name.
Yeah, it is my last name.
Do you want us to edit it out?
No, I don't care.
What if somebody called you Dave? What would you do?
My wife calls me Dave.
Yeah.
My mom calls me Dave. So.
But not people in the industry. They call you Doc.
Yeah. There's one woman who met me right before in St. Louis, right before the name change. Mm-hmm. To this day, she calls me Dave. Yeah.
Kayla, you learned something new today.
I did.
yeah. But so Doc, what do we want to see on women? We want to see lingerie. We want
nothing.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
That's the truth.
That is it.
That is the truth. So just your red lip and nothing.
Nothing.
Okay.
What about a pair of pumps though?
I guess we could.
Okay.
Handcuffs, pumps. I mean, whatever.
Handcuffs, y'all.
Blindfolds and handcuffs, y'all. Well, we talking romance and friends.
Hey.
It is a wild feeling.
There's Taurus in me. I'm sorry.
Oh, that means you have a birthday coming up.
Or did it pass?
It just passed.
Well, happy belated.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. Ashy or dry hands?
Ashy or dry hands?
Sorry, let me rephrase.
Yeah.
Ashy/dry hands. Yeah or no?
No.
Okay.
Okay, good for you. No.
Yeah.
No for me.
Negative.
Okay. I'm gonna scroll down to. Have you discovered music on TikTok?
Have I discovered music on TikTok? No, I've had people. Some of my people that work with me say, "Yo, I just came across TikTok." We've reinvigorated records that I've heard on TikTok, like Miguel's record, Sure Thing, somehow on TikTok just came back, and so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have not discovered music on TikTok because I'm not in Doc's role, and honestly, I am not on TikTok. I'm more of an Instagrammer, and to be honest, I find it somewhat silly to do some of the trends and stuff. Yeah.
Instagram is becoming Facebook, which is TikTok is becoming.
So I don't have a Facebook either.
Really?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, it's still there. It's still prevalent, but it's kind of
shifting.
Yeah. Like you say Facebook to my daughters, they're like, Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay. I really want to know this one. Ever approve a song you didn't like because you knew it would chart?
Ever approve a song?
Yeah.
I'm not a dictator, so I work with other people, and from time to time someone will say, I think this is smash, and some of my team are younger than me, so sometimes I give them the benefit of the doubt, and we'll put a record in.
That's fair.
And it might may or may not work, and I'm like, yeah, I told y'all it was crap, so yeah.
Okay.
Use the term Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What about it?
Do you have my question down? You took it out?
I didn't see that question.
Uh-huh.
What was it?
The term Brooklyn, whenever necessary, or to make your point. I'm from Brooklyn, because I'm from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say it so I didn't realize how often I say it to the
Uh-huh.
point where a lot of my team will say, "It's Doc. He's from Brooklyn."
Yeah, so that's it. Yeah. Okay.
There is a thing,
Uh-huh.
if you know. I mean, we grew up at a time where you had to, you couldn't just walk the streets, and you had to have that thing.
Oh yeah.
And if you come from Brooklyn, and
And I know.
I've managed over the years to be able to, kind of control that better. Case in point, Richie Harmon, 6th grade.
Somebody ran up on you.
I like Lisa. He likes Lisa. He's my guy. He calls me the N-word.
You punched him?
Brooklyn. Yeah. And
You snuffed it? Wait, did you snuff him or punch him?
I knocked his ass out.
I was saying he knocked him.
And,
He rocked him.
And Sister Carmelite came up to me and said, "Look, Dave, you're going to be called that name your entire life, so you need to get accustomed to it." And I looked at her like, no, I guess I'm not. So fast forward, I'm in college playing basketball against, we're in Alaska playing against the University of Alaska. I'm wearing this kid out. He starts talking crap, and I'm like, dude, I got like 20 points. You got like 5. What are you talking about? Calls me the N-word.
Jeez.
What?
I get thrown out the game.
Yeah, you do.
My coach comes up to me and says, "So what happened?" I said, "He called me the N-word." He said, "So you punched him?" I said, "Yeah." "So now you're not playing and he's playing."
Yeah.
Life lesson.
Yeah.
And so fast forward, walking with my wife in Orlando. She's biracial. She's black and French. And we're going into a restaurant. This woman's walking towards us, and she's like, "Look at these 2 niggas." And my wife just keeps walking.
Didn't even acknowledge
Didn't
it.
even phase her. And I saw the power of taking the power out of that word.
Mm.
Like, wow. And we've subsequently been called that since then. And I've taken that posture, and almost to the point where the person's confused. Like, no,
You're
I said
supposed
it for
to
a
be
reason.
offended.
Yeah. Like, what's going on? And we just walk by. Like, we took the power out the word. So that thing has come full circle for me.
Wow.
And, I've learned a valuable lesson that, you got to control the Brooklyn and take the power out of the word. So, but when I say Brooklyn, it's because
you
You
want
repping.
you
You
want to
repping.
know.
You got to let them know.
Yeah, sometimes somebody tries you, and it's
I was just about to say, try it if
Is
you
it
want.
always about a try?
Try it if
I
you
don't.
want.
When I say I'm from New York, I don't actually I don't know what it means.
But coming from New York, there's an inner thing because you just can't walk on the subway in New York with I'm a tourist look, because you'll get punked.
Yeah.
I mean, and so there's that thing that you have to have. But
I also feel like it represents like a grit too, right?
Yeah,
like
grit,
you're working
absolutely.
real hard, right? It's a hustle mentality.
Yep.
Mhm.
Don't mess with us because we from here.
Yep.
absolutely,
Absolutely.
don't try us, and
Don't try
I
us.
think- I hear you. Okay, go to the next one. This is
yeah,
New Yorkers
but you
vibing.
know what I'm talking about.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. You think some of these media personalities need media training?
I said, yeah, nah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who am I to say anything? I mean, we fresh. This is our second year
Mhm.
doing this, and as professionals, we thought that we could do this show because we hold ourselves to excellence,
Yeah.
right? Coming with a running show, coming with preparation with a team, and coming with our own raw and natural thoughts. Now, there's other components to it that we didn't know.
Yeah.
Right. So in terms of like our training, like I wouldn't say that we need like training, but we're learning like as we go.
Mhm.
When I'm speaking on panels, there are things that I phrase differently.
Mhm.
I don't just come out and say it, and that's the training that
Yeah.
I've encountered. So I would say not just to media personalities to anyone that is camera facing, I think that there are ways to frame things.
Yeah. Do you read comments?
My good question. Good question.
Ooh, that stumbled. Because it's like a twofold answer.
I saw that New York. They tried me.
I'll get my feelings hurt, but I read a lot of comments on videos where I'm like, I'm not a person to say mean things about someone, but I sometimes think them. So I just want to know if somebody else is thinking them too. Yeah. And that's why I may read someone else's comments. But on my comments, I engage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate to see when people like just say hurtful things to people unnecessarily. And I went down a rabbit hole one time and I was like, what am I doing? Like, stop.
Why am I here?
Yeah. Because again, the Brooklyn came out. I was like, where do you live? And I'll get on a plane and what am I doing?
Oh boy, Doc. Oh boy. Go ahead. Next question, racist.
Ever borrow cable back in the day?
Ever borrow cable? I wasn't a cable borrower, but I was definitely the guy that bought the movies from the
Hustle Man.
From the Hustle Man at the barbershop. That's how I saw Taken, by the way. I saw Taken like 2 years before everybody else because I was in a barbershop and somebody was like, yo, this movie's hot. And I was like, really? And it still had the numbers in the side.
Oh, wow.
But wait. Remember when you would watch a movie and you would see people's like hands and
see the shadows of people walking past.
Lord.
Again, if you're in our community, you go to the barbershop and now it's
but also at the hairdresser too.
Hairdresser? Mm-hmm. But now it's a whole different thing. You can get a box that let me not.
Yeah, don't go ahead, Francis. Keep going.
Saying "What up, son" in a professional setting.
Not necessarily that phrase, but
bless up.
For example, yesterday we had a call where they were playing a record by a new artist, not a new artist, actually a legendary artist, and L.A. Reid was the person that was presiding over the call, and that's my guy. Mm-hmm. So so he's. Hello, Tom. Hello, Bob. What up, Doc? What up, LA? My guy, because it's a respect and comfort thing, and it's a cultural thing. Yeah. And I think radio is liberal enough where people understood and they don't really, feel a way about it.
Dang, we didn't even talk about pulling Smokey's records.
Well, I don't know. I don't have many stations that play
Smokey
records.
Okay.
Cruising was my jam back in the day. Ooh. Yeah. And again, how do you pull his records? Like, you don't know if he's guilty. Like, you know what I'm saying? Somebody accused you of something. It doesn't mean you did it. So it's a touchy substance.
Yep.
Touchy subject.
We just got a few more questions.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Keep Tim's year round just in case.
Yes.
I do too. But now I see a lot of young people wearing their Tim's wrinkles. Mm-hmm. Wrinkles and Tim's and Forces? What do you call Forces?
Uptowns.
You talking about Air Force Ones? What are you talking
about? You said Air Force Ones. I said Forces.
Yeah.
Uptowns. They used to be called Uptowns.
You clean your sneakers?
No.
They never get dirty.
My team looks at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, I'm not wearing my sneakers dirty. Like,
right.
Yeah.
You'll give me some cleaning tips. Changing the station as soon as the DJ starts talking.
I don't, because I probably want to know
what they're talking
about. But I've seen it done as a passenger in a car. They might not like a person's voice, or they know the commercials are coming. So yeah, I kind of like to do that. I like to study, especially if I'm in an Uber. I want to see what triggers them to change the channel.
Okay.
I never change it because a DJ is talking.
Really?
No, because I want to hear whatever the advertisement is as a business owner.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How they reading it, what's the energy. One of my favorites are over at Hot 97. Mm-hmm. We've done some collabs with them, and they find one of their DJs very annoying. I find it very comical. So
we're laughing because
but also I feel like just growing up on radio, the radio was on all the time. Yeah. It could motivate you, right? It could boost you, just depending on who that voice is. So
who was your favorite DJ in New York growing up?
It was Flex.
Flex. Okay.
Yeah. It was definitely
Flex.
Flex.
Been on for a long time.
Yeah.
Long time.
Yeah. I was a little before that, so I was a Frankie Crocker guy. And,
I enjoy Clue.
Clue.
Mm-hmm.
Clue's with us now.
Love
over
Clue.
at Power.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's been there for years. Does nights on Power 105.1.
We need to get him. Okay. So, you got Tim, Francis?
I don't have any. Surprisingly,
she's from Brooklyn. Doc, tell her.
Really?
I know. It's been
Like, have you ever had a pair?
Of course.
Oh, but you don't have them right now.
I don't have any right now.
Okay.
No.
You could get your black card.
Revoked.
Oh, come on, Doc. We Brooklyn. Why you gonna do that to me? Oh, dang.
I got a fresh pair.
Dang.
But if you worn Tim's here and seen it, there's a slightly different, like what are those on your feet kind of thing. Yeah.
The young people are wearing them though.
Yeah, they're starting to wear
With
them
jorts.
again. Okay.
With what?
Jorts.
Jorts?
Jean shorts.
Jean shorts, yeah.
Oh.
Go ahead, friend. Come on, we got to come up with two more questions.
Okay. Listening to albums from start to finish.
It's been a minute. My favorite music genre is 90s R&B. Yes. That's when I, was doing my thing, and I think it's the best music. And interestingly enough, we're finding that the younger audience really loves 90s R&B.
They do.
And so we're starting to program it into more of our stations. So
Yes.
back then, I would listen to an entire album. I wanted to hear what Keith Sweat or Babyface and they made albums. Like I think a lot of the music today is made for streaming, whereas they made albums. They made bodies of work, and you had to, listen to. And of course, I would go listen to find the slow jam to play on my show. So.
And then they all had stories, and they flowed.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't do that anymore.
That's how Keith Sweat sounds.
Don't do
that
my
shit was
guy.
hella annoying.
Don't do my guy.
Man. It didn't sound like that.
I'm not laughing. Hey,
Doc.
Keith, I'm not laughing with Shontay. I'm not laughing at you.
But he's laughing at you, Keith.
And I want to with the wine. And I want to you.
Hey,
That's how it sounded.
come on.
But him and Cut Close they were it.
Have you seen Keith in concert here in LA? He's here at least once a year.
Can you
Yeah, absolutely.
can you contact Keith so we could go and meet him?
Yeah, Keith has a syndicated show on iHeart. He's our slow jam guy.
Oh.
Yeah. So when it came time for syndication, which was the direction that I had always wanted to go to, my boss told me, he goes, so you want to be the syndicated Quiet Storm guy, or you want to be the guy that hires the syndicated Quiet Storm guy? I was like, I think I want to be the guy that hires.
Yeah,
him.
right,
So
right.
We hired Keith, and he's been doing it now for 20-some years.
My imitation is spot on, though.
I'm not.
If that's not how he sounds to y'all with that song, last question, go ahead.
Not participating in the disrespect of Keith Sweat
I'm not
on this show.
Okay, and I do listen to albums start to finish, but I skip songs to if it don't hit right away, I'm gonna go to the next one and then I'll circle back.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do both. I tend to listen all the way through.
Okay.
Okay. Last question.
Yep.
Believe that no party is a real party unless the DJ runs it back 5 times.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I remember being in the club, 50-50 Club. Okay. And 50 Cent song,
Which one?
It's Your Birthday.
It's Your Birthday, yeah.
Just dropped. They played that sucker 9 times in a row. And
Dang.
each time it got more and more and more intense. Nobody stopped dancing.
Yeah.
It just kept going and going and going.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the last time I've
But you knew what song I
that-
was coming with,
yeah,
though.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the last time I've experienced that was when Not Like Us. So Not Like Us
Oh,
came
yeah.
out May 4th of last year. It's still a power on our station.
Yes.
Y'all love Kendrick.
It won't go away.
Mhm.
But like maybe let's say June, July of last year in a club, and it was
Nonstop.
insane.
Wait, Doc, you still going to the club?
Embarrassingly. Did you notice how her voice changed?
Wait. I'm not judging you.
Did you hear the indictment? Because I honestly feel a way when I'm in a club now. I'm like, why am I in a club?
Why am I here?
But occasionally,
Why do you have to go? Why do you have to go?
Business.
like we had our 10th birthday party,
Mhm.
and so I was in the club. I think
I thought y'all went bowling.
No. It was in a club called West 8 here in LA. And so I was in there, and as I was in there, I was like, why am I in this club? Because I have to be here. And then
you looked at your watch and said it was past your bedtime.
Last time though, we were in Vegas. I think Big Boy and I went to go see a fight, and they took us to the club after, and I was in the club, and I was like, why am I
Were you in the club with the chicken wings, or were you in the club with just the music?
I was in the club with people that were significantly younger than me. Nobody was dancing. They're just sitting there like
bobbing their heads.
So no food.
No, there was beverages. I mean, it was alcohol. And
do you know what I just asked you?
Yeah, there was wings.
He said I didn't hear it.
Not allowing you to pull me into.
Wait, we'll go.
Did you drop a flag or something on Shontay?
Wait, no, not a flag.
Flag on play.
Doc, what's next for you? Your stations, your career. What's next?
It's I see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I had a son very young. What am I saying? I have a very young son.
Yeah.
That I had at a
older age.
At an older age. And so I just want to spend time with him. Like I love hanging out with him. I went to his school yesterday to read. He's just interesting, man. He's so cool. He's a great athlete. I was an athlete. His mom was an athlete, and so like he's athletic, and I just want to just pour everything into him. And I sometimes he's looking at me like, yo, like back up off me, man.
How great is it to be able to see the world and through his perspective?
Oh my God, it's amazing. My youngest daughter is graduating from Columbia Law this weekend.
Congratulations! So, oh my goodness!
Just
this weekend.
Just watching her just blossom into this amazing woman, and now, I have him. Her sister, my oldest daughter, is doing excellent things as well. So I'm just proud of my children, and I just want to go sit down, not go to nightclubs, and listen.
We
to
know
music.
judgment. Bless up. All right. We had Doc Wynter.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you for coming, and you're listening to Shamelessly Shontay. Bye.